right, all right, all right. Welcome to another Thursday, y'all. Welcome to another Thursday. All kinds of good stuff happening. I'm gonna hang out a little bit while some folks start to kind of join the chat with us here. 46 strong. Let's at least try to get to 100. Let's put those vibes out today. Great to see everyone here. Thank you, BB, so much for jumping in on the moderation, of course, every week and giving me my sound check. I worked hard on the sound check this week. So great to have everybody here. Thank you for chiming in. Some of you get shy and you don't want to chime in. I understand, but say hello. It's nice to know who's out there and who's enjoying the content and all that kind of stuff. Big things going on last week, still this week. More to come throughout the rest of the year. 2021, we're all hoping is going to be better than our 2020. One thing I've noticed about 2020, at least it's going fast for me. So I hope next year goes a little slower and we can enjoy it and we have some things to appreciate for sure. But it's great to have everybody filing in, of course, from Germany and UK and all over the US. But man, it's been a good week. A lot of you guys have been supporting the cause with the new course called Blues Rock Connection. Oh, I should have got fancy and pulled up a still for that. I could, but what I'm gonna do something special for you guys today. What I'm gonna do is I thought once, if I destroy my guitar, let's make sure we're in tune. There you go. Fun stuff to talk about, particularly with the course. That's right, the new course, Blues Rock Connection, with my buddy Brett Papa at brettpapa.com. It's been such a fun partnership with Brett because we kind of started working together almost by accident. He was in Nashville hanging out with another guitar player friend of mine, and we got to talking, and he was just like, man, you'll see it in that video that I just posted that my friend Six String Stories just posted. He basically said, you know, you could be reaching a lot more people, and I think I could help you. So that was kind of like the motivation to work with Brett. And we're 2 courses in now. And the whole idea was we were going to start working on Complete Blues Volume 2. But I said, what if we do something in the interim, since we can't like get together? I mean, this was like in April of this year, so it was like in the thick of it for sure. And I just said, I got some ideas. Let's put some rock stuff, rock blues. Let's put some licks together and all that kind of stuff. But what happens most of the time when one of us buys a guitar course is we might not know how to take the most out of it or get the most out of it or take pieces and put it into our playing. So I'm going to give you some tips just with one of the solos I teach, what my philosophy is, what my hope is that the student will get out of it. We talked about this on Brett's stream last week. We had a blast. We had 300 people. It was awesome. And I still feel like I want to make sure everybody is comfortable when they make a purchase like this, that they understand what they're getting. Yeah. So let's take a look. We got 60 folks joining us here for sure. Doing a couple. I want to wait till we get to maybe about closer to 100. I want to rock this video here real quick. But couple other fun things. The DGT sounding great. Speaking of another famous online guitar instructor, see if I can grab this here for you. This is a new pedal I'm checking out. Oh, you can't really see it. Oh, there we go. This is my friend Eric Andreas's pedal. It's called the Dueling Ninjas. Does some really cool stuff, and I'm going to talk to you about that. But that's what I'm using today. Just that, going into the 2-rock and the reverb, the EBO reverb unit per usual. I'm going to make sure this lays down on the floor properly. And it's a great pedal. It does kind of a like an OCD thing, but then it's also got a tube screamer type circuit too. So that OCD was never really a pedal that I connected with, but it's pretty cool. I'm just getting my feet wet with it. And it definitely has more of that sort of amp-like feel. Let me turn my phone off here. Well, you can hear my ring alarm going off. If you turn the pedal off, it's got a soft switch, which I really like. Oh, Michael got his pedal. That's awesome. So what I'm doing, I'll show you the settings here in a minute, but it's so cool because with one switch you can change modes and it'll go from one pedal and then bring the other one in. So you have like sort of a built-in, it's like what I do is I use 2 overdrive pedals, but this has them both in there and you access it with one switch. So we'll talk about that. It's gonna be cool. We got about 70 folks in here. I'm gonna do this experiment here. I'm gonna roll this video. And we're going to take a listen to one of the performances in my course, and I'll talk about it. So I'm going to throw it over to, you guys should be seeing Brett Papa's channel right there. And I'm going to jump over and start the video. Let's hear it. Here we go. Turn it up a little bit. Yes, complete with guitar faces and all. So what I did was, and I kind of wanted to do this in Complete Blues Volume 1, and even somebody commented about it in that course, because in Brett Papa's world, you can go and scroll down and look at comments, and you can leave comments, and you can do downloads. And what I did was, the way I edited it was I took that whole performance and I broke it up into different verses, so that you didn't have to scroll back on a long video. You had a shorter one to work with. And you see also here verse 1 lesson, verse 2, verse 3, or bridge. That's where all the downloads live. And in the way I constructed that solo is I tried to make a little song out of these where each one had something that could stand on its own. And you could also, each one I also kind of build up with a lot of different techniques. So I thought maybe we would take a little look at how we might take a couple pieces of that. I won't teach you the whole solo here because we got to get you in the course. I mean, that's where all the goodies are, all the tabs, all the tracks. But yeah, so I thought I would jump back in here and just kind of talk about it. I got the track pulled up and everything too. But yeah, so it's been a lot of fun seeing how excited people are about this course. It's I'm hearing a lot of folks saying it's great to hear me play more rock type stuff, and that's kind of how I play. I'm always a combination of those two for sure. Just adjusting some settings over here. But, you know, that song is like a funky rock blues in G. And in the rhythm part, which is also completely taught, the rhythm performance has its own full-length performance and 3 videos as well. And it's got all this kind of stuff in here. That kind of idea. So those kinds of things. And you'll say to yourself, well, wow, that's a lot of chords. Now, I taught a lot of those 7th chord ideas in Complete Blues Volume 1, brought those over, but didn't play them in sort of the more, you know, Hendrix meets the Red Hot Chili Peppers, you know, that kind of stuff. You know, so I thought, wow, that was a great opportunity to kind of put some stuff together like that. And you could tell when you're just playing on your own like that, if you just took that rhythm section, which is all in the chorus, you can start to kind of build little ideas and riffs yourself. Now, the first thing I would do, since I kind of meandered onto the rhythm conversation there, is if you get a handle on just that little piece, I mean, you can see there's a lot of nuggets in the solo and the rhythm part. If you get an idea of that, this is what I told a student the other day in a live stream. I was like, now, or in a live lesson, I said, move that to another key. And what if you move that whole entire thing to C? Well, that means you're going to have to try to find the key of C on your guitar. And the way I teach it, I'm showing you where all these are coming from for G. So if you visually move all that up to the key of C on the 8th fret, you could even do that as its own rhythm part, standalone, or you could change the key of the entire thing. The idea here is that you should take any small piece of either the rhythm part or the lead part and immediately try to do something else with it. Once you've learned it, once it sounds recognizable to what I'm doing. And even if it doesn't, that's okay, because it's basically like, what if I go to a painting class and somebody says, we're going to try to paint this, they're going to teach you how to do this. Like Bob Ross used to teach you how to make trees with the brush. Oh man, the happy little trees and all that stuff. I used to come home from school and take a nap and put on Bob Ross and then just fall asleep because it was the most soothing thing. And I thought to myself, like, I could make a tree, but that's pretty fun. I mean, I could do it any way I wanted to, and that's kind of what he wants you to do, and that's what I want you to do. Once you get an idea of how to go, you know, start to move it in different keys. Let's put it in B flat. Okay, that's, like I said, how to use this course, and it's how to use any of the courses I've ever done. Immediately start to use those ideas in different keys and in different spots and in different kinds of music. Okay, so again, what if you have that idea and you get presented with a shuffle in G? Where's my guitar volume here? There we go. I felt like I lost some volume. I might have. So if you have, you could take those ideas we got lawn guys, but they're not mine. Across the street, lawn guys. Lawn guys were here yesterday. They skipped a week because we had all that weather that was chilly. Yeah, so when you learn little rhythm parts like what I teach in that particular example, or the rhythm version of that example, start moving it. That's the kind of thing right there. And then, let's get on to one piece of the actual performance, is when I'm going, man, I'm losing volume here somehow, and I don't know what happened. Who knows? It could be anything. Could have been my cables, perhaps. Oh, I think I might have bumped the level on the pedal. There we go. Right, so that song, let me just play up, I got the backing track pulled up. Let me just jam a little bit over that first part. So, a great opportunity to immediately start major and minor pentatonics. And Brett and I talked about that on Saturday quite a lot. And man, if you can, how I learned how to play major pentatonic was by transcribing licks. So I thought, why don't I do that kind of idea for you? And just take that simple one right there. Okay, and that's going to come out of that pentatonic scale right there. And it's really just me kind of going A, B, A, G. Works great over a regular G chord, but it also works great over that. Then what I do right there is I think to myself more of slightly major pentatonic, but also minor. Because this is major, but as soon as I play and approach that F note there, now I'm kind of seeing pentatonic number 2, G minor. And I'm always a half step away from them. And you'll find when you start playing these little major ideas, push the destination a half step away, mostly up, and you're going to find that you land in minor pentatonic land, and that is such a beautiful way to connect them. Very major. I could go, and that'd still be very major, but I want that minor sort of twinge to give me the bluesy sound. Then I go right there, straight out of G minor pentatonic, straight into major. Okay, so I'm seeing so the key is, how do you learn that? How do you navigate that so quickly? Well, for one, let's go back to my initial thing was I think you should learn some licks, and the solos like this help us see the end game and see the composition there, okay? And then once we learn the licks, it's really important to see how they lie within the scale patterns. Now, if you're weak in your minor pentatonic scales, then you got not just the all 5 shapes, but where they lie on the fretboard in all 12 keys. That's so important because G minor is also B flat major. So I don't want to go too far down a rabbit hole there on minors and relatives and that sort of thing. But the point is you're going to need all of the keys eventually anyway. Like if you're in the key of E minor, you might need to know G major as well, since they're the relative of each other, right? But what if you're in E minor and you want an E major sound? Well, then you have to play this, which is the same as C sharp minor pentatonic. And of course, the way I always teach that is if you're an E here on the 12th fret, and that's your minor root. This is your minor toolbox of sounds here. Take that entire shape and move it down to where that E note on the 12th fret now becomes the note that your pinky rides on. And just reinforce that E note, and that will give you more of a major sound as you play from root to root. So then what you could do is, for practice, let's say you had this backing track and you're just playing over the first 2 verses. So let's try something like this. So that sounds pretty good over a minor pentatonic scale, but let's hear what it sounds like if it's major. To me, neither of them sounds perfect, which is why the combinations are so, so important. One more time. So now we'll go, I'll play the intro. Then, let's do major. Let's do minor here. Major. Minor. Let's do major. Minor. Minor, major. Yeah, that's before it gets to the bridge. So the important thing above all else is to just hear it, okay? Is to just, and that's easier said than done, I realize that. But I got a handful of some folks that have been joining me for some one-on-one lessons via Zoom, and man, you never know who's really studying what you do, you know, and it's so nice when some of you folks reach out to me and they say, man, I noticed you do this, I noticed you do that, and it's nothing I ever thought anybody would notice. And a lot of times people are saying, well, you mix these flavors so well, I don't understand how to do that. Well, for one, like I said, learning the licks and learning the vocabulary is really important, because at least it gets you going, and then you can start to analyze where they come from. And that's, like I said, incredibly important. But the next thing is just to kind of departmentalize them in your brain as being major, and what does that sound like? Does it sound like the Allman Brothers? Does it sound like country? And what does the minor pentatonic scale give you? It gives you tougher, more attitude, sounds bluesy. And you hear it in a lot of great players playing that do it immediately, seamlessly. We were working on, he was showing me how he was crushing the solo for Lenny, the Stevie Ray Vaughan song. And within a measure, Stevie Ray bounced back and forth between major and minor. And I was like, this is it. He wanted major there, then he wanted minor. And it was so interesting because that song is so major sounding, but Stevie forces that blues over it with the minor pentatonic, and it sounds perfect, you know? Yeah. So that's my little spiel. I hope you guys dug that little video portion of the course. I think it's going to be a lot of fun for people looking for some different licks, some different approaches. I dive really deep into every little thing I'm doing. That's one of the things I'm learning as I become a better teacher, is to really get into the minutia of what the stuff is all about. You know, the concepts, things I'm playing. All right, let's go to the chat. Jack Smith, you're most welcome. Thanks for being here. Got so many friends here, and thank you to Jim C for telling me about, reminding me of not Reading Rainbow, Romper Room, back many years ago, because we made a Romper Room reference on the Brett live stream, and it was keeping me up at night for sure. Of course, thanks so much to BB Ninja for showing up, for showing all the links, being an amazing moderator to all of us YouTubers out there. He has dropped the link for Blues Rock Connection. You may, if you are interested in Complete Blues Volume 1, you will get a notification saying, hey, add this as well. Yeah, so thank you so much for adding that, BB. some more folks. So Six String Stories says, just realized I'm wearing a mouse wrap t-shirt. Can you request 5,000 candles in the wind? The goodbye, little Sebastian. It's my mouse rat shirt. It's my Parks and Rec tribute. Not planned, just grabbed it because it was a clean black t-shirt, right? Yeah, Lawrence says when he plays the blues, he feels Mixolydian and major pentatonic sound too sweet on their own. I agree. And that's why I kind of like to find those half-step movements that takes me into minor pentatonic land, for sure. Lawn service was sapping my volume, for sure. I swear that's what it was. Yeah, nah, Brett's not out there mowing my lawn, that's for sure. He's out there, he's trying to edit video. Oh, man. So Jack Smith says that he thinks he saw me on Tim Pierce. He doesn't listen to too much music past the 90s. I can relate to that. I love 90s music, but I do listen to modern stuff for sure. Thanks, Six Strings, for saying $39 is a deal. That's as low as it's going to be. Yeah, it's a great... I just got the SG back. Haven't changed the pickups yet, but I'm going to make a video about all that stuff. Lots of double stops for sure, Jim, in that solo. And I hope yeah, indeed. Bryant Wally says, hope I don't hit a copyright on myself. I very well may. That happens from time to time. Let's see. Oh, and Michael is talking about he got his Eric Andreas signature dueling ninja pedal. And that's what I'm playing through. Let's see here. Got friends from Dallas, friends from Germany, of course, Jason Carter, St. Louis, Rena, all the way from India. Amazing. Ron, I will try not to destroy the DGT. All right. Looks like we're going good, too, because the stream looks strong. Good stream. So William Swanson says, bought my new course and the blues course. Thank you so much, William. Thanks, Christopher Stark. White Rabbits being here. Thanks for being here again. Raphael from Spain. Thanks, Matt Barreau, for chiming in on Thursday. San Diego, Jeff Shook. Oh, who's from San Diego? Scott Lawless. Amazing. Love California. Can I bottle that weather and bring it here? Lawrence, I'm glad you're enjoying the course. Everybody's been really, really cool. Man, you guys are awesome. Thanks so much for being here. Al, good to see Al back in the chat from New Jersey. How many ways of mixing major and minor you find? Different bars, same bar, come and go. We could talk about that in a moment. Let's see here. I want to get a couple more questions. This particular course, Chris, probably not for a beginner, more of an intermediate player. Definitely. Jeff, I do remember Captain Kangaroo. Absolutely. Steven, glad you have Thursdays off as well. Glad you're here, man. Is the course useful for strictly blues playing, even though the title? Yes. Whenever I do courses, it always leans on the blues, for sure. Because that's where I learned how to play. If it's country, it's coming from blues. If it's rock, it's coming from blues. So there's plenty of stuff in there that can be transposed to blues grooves. The solos are all based around 1-4-5 progressions, but they have bridges in them. So they'll have different sections that are more rock influenced, for sure. NoobTuber Guitarist is in from an oil rig in the UK. Amazing. That's fantastic. Paul from Memphis is here. So Brian asked in the Six Strings video, so if you guys didn't notice, my friend Six String Stories is in the chat. He's a guitar player and a videographer in Nashville who has taken to kind of documenting the careers of folks like me that you might not know much about, but have been playing guitar for a living. It's been paying my bills for a long, long time. And he did a great video about how I managed to do that. And it's always challenging to keep trying to do this for a living, but here we are. And every year's been better than the next. And thankful to Clint for documenting some of my stories. And that video is in the chat somewhere. And you guys can watch that on his channel. Please support him. But Bryant says in that video, At the 504 mark, I have a vintage brand telly. Where is it now? So what Bryant is talking about is a course that I did many years ago. 50 Texas Blues Licks You Must Know. It was the first blues course first course of any kind that I ever did. And I used this brand called Vintage. Now, Vintage is sort of an inexpensive line built and designed by Trev Wilkinson of Wilkinson Tremolos. He has another brand called Fret King, which is cool. I had one of those guitars for a while. And very, very high quality, very inexpensive. You know, $300-400 for an amazing sort of relic feeling good telly. I changed the pickups and it sounded really, really good. It was at a time when I had 4 tellies and I had just moved to Nashville. Actually, I had that guitar for a few years and brought it with me to Nashville, and I ended up somehow accumulating 4 tellies. And it was in a period where I needed to sell guitars for rent money. Happens all the time. So it hasn't happened lately, which is good. As long as you guys are supporting in this way, I won't have to do that. The stable's gotten much bigger, as you can see. But that guitar was sold to... Who bought that guitar? I think I just sold it on Reverb. But it served me well for a long time. It sounded great, actually. I had Lindy Fralin split coil pickups in it. They were really, really good. I love Fralin pickups. They're awesome. And it sounded awesome. It sounded really, really good. So that's where that guitar ended up. But a lot of folks in the opera have vintage. They're just, you know, if you're playing a gig like where there's people around all the time and sound people and videographers, there's a chance that guitar could get knocked over. And if you knock over a $300 or $500 Fender or something like that, you can replace it easier than your vintage prized possession, for sure. Hey, good to see Curtis McDonald back here. Good to have you here, buddy. He's right. If you mix major and minor with the blues scale, you get straight chromatic from the 2 all the way to the 5. 100%. You can go... He's 100% right. I'm currently going through TrueFire's Play Blues Guitar in Lesson 4, Rhythm Principles. Can I switch effectively between those courses and your new course with Brett Papa? I would have to, Al, this is Al Adolfson asking this question. I would have to, I'd have to go and watch that lesson. It sounds to me like it's maybe a little bit premature to do that. That being said, I think Complete Blues Volume 1 with Brett is what I would call more for late beginner to early intermediate and beyond. So I would think about that too, but feel free, if you have questions, y'all, send me an email with a link of something you want me to see and say, hey, I'm in this lesson, I want to go here, what do you think? And I'll help you, I'll let you know. So Paul, I'm just grabbing questions as they come. Paul Fitzgerald says, I bought the new course a couple days ago. Is it okay to start with it, or would it be better to start with Complete Blues Volume 1? Paul, I think that's maybe an assessment of your own ability. Watch some of the performances and see which ones speak to you the most and what you think you could get the most out of right away. Like when I get a lesson, when I get a book or a video or something, I try to find what is most useful right away. Like in that solo I played for you guys, what's probably going to be useful for a lot of you is when I do that. You might take one chord and maybe we just, I'm all tangled here, son of a gun. Maybe we just loop that. You know, if you were to get like a backing track in G and you just go, you have a riff that sounds like mine, like, let me try to loop it here. 3, 4. So we got that. Turn it down a little bit. And you take that. Or maybe we take that idea, maybe we see the roadmap, but we don't play it up to speed. to play it correctly doesn't mean that you play it just like me. To get the most out of it, this is why we're having this discussion today. Take little pieces like that. Did you hear? That was like one tiny section of that whole solo. You know, you could take that again, and then you could find it. Then maybe put in a you know, a blues lick after that. So we're a 1, 2, put the chorus lick. Your own lick in G minor. See what I'm saying? It's a lot of experimentation, and I think from meeting a lot of you in one-on-one lessons and when I was teaching through the TrueFire platform, you know, don't hesitate to just go for it. You know, you should not sound good in your practice room. You want to use that to kind of work out the kinks. But, you know, if you were to take that track, or you could go on YouTube and just say Funk Groove G7 or Funky Blues in G7, and don't even use my track, but use the lick. Take that whole idea, okay? So that's kind of how I do it. I try to take something I might have learned from one of my books or one of my you know, videos that I've learned from over the years and add it into what I already know as fast as I can. Take a piece that speaks to you. Oh man, that lick. I remember going to a guitar lesson one time and I heard Stevie Ray Vaughan go, something like that. And it was in the solo. I didn't learn the whole solo. I just learned that part because that was something I wanted to add to my bag. And if you take the small chunk, you're going to be able to incorporate it hopefully a lot easier and a lot sooner. That's sort of the whole idea there. All right, back to the chat. You guys are rocking. We had, again, thanks Curtis for showing up. Let me see if I can find some of the newer ones. Got some folks from Kalamazoo, Michigan, Israel. Great to have some folks come across the pond. Denver, Seattle, Blues Beginner, just got, and there's Al. Okay, I know where I'm at now. Started with Al. How do you know if you're intermediate or beginner? That's a great question, Jack. Jack, I would say that, if you're intermediate, you feel comfortable with most styles of basic blues, like if we're talking about blues or blues rock. You understand the 12-bar blues, you understand the 1-4-5 progression, you understand a few different ways to play rhythm inside of the 12-bar blues, and you can competently solo in and out of the 12-bar progression. So for instance, when you're soloing, you should hear those 12 bars beginning and ending and hearing that loop going around. And when the song starts, when the turnaround happens, when the form repeats, if you can get in and out of those, that's when you know, I think you're competent, you're intermediate. That means intermediate is pretty wide because there's a lot of different ranges. You know, I think there's intermediate folks that probably never considered playing with the band. There's probably intermediate folks that are ready to go on to an advanced type of study. So it's pretty broad, but I think intermediate is when you're playing music really competently by yourself or with other people. And by yourself might mean I can play through a chord progression in time or along to a track and have it make sense. I could take the track away and still sound good. Beginners are probably still working up to that a little bit more. Beginners are also lots of times working out bad habits. We do that as intermediate players too, and advanced players, but hopefully those diminish as we become a more seasoned player. So hopefully that makes more sense to you, but that's a really, really good question. Just watch a video and like, man, you're like, I can't do that, then it's out of your realm, and that's okay. Work on getting there. Or if you look at it and you're like, man, I really want to do that, break it down into the smallest pieces, like what I was showing you there. hopefully that makes sense. Let's see here. Okay. So Ali from Turkey says he couldn't find the backing track name on tracks on the site. So that backing track is a part of the course that we're talking about. We're talking about my new course called Blues Rock Connection. That is not in the folder of free tracks. Sorry about that. That's part of the value of the course. You can get it for $39 today with a special link that BB Ninja's adding. So, but thanks for asking. Usually all the other tracks are free. I don't want to give stuff away that people paid for. And they're like, hey, why are you giving it away? I paid for that. All right, so more questions. Paul Fitzgerald, thanks for being here. Did you ever work on finger dexterity exercises without a guitar in your hands? Carl Freemeyer asked that. No, I don't really. I feel like the best way to get dexterity is to play. That's my favorite. Jim, I'm not going to play it in diminished. Nobody wants to hear me do that. Yeah, Euless Gold, just keep noodling with the parts of the solo that you like. That's what it's all about. I think the cool thing about a course is that in a minute and a half, I can give you an example and then teach on it. Whereas like when we listen to our favorite records and so forth, you know, we have to kind of scroll through the track and that sort of thing, and which is great. That's how I learn, how many of us learn and continue to. But what's cool about a course is that the solo I write should be chock full of ideas, and you should be able to get as many out of those as you can for a minute and a half of the performance. You know, let's see here. You're very welcome, Jack. Thanks for being here. Let's see here. Got some folks talking about holding the pick. Madge bought my course to get her through the next lockdown, fingers crossed. What would be, so Yzav, I don't know what his name is, Yzaviv, we'll call him. What would be a good practice routine for remembering small licks out of a performance? Just like what I'm doing, try to get a backing track or a one chord thing and just try to repeat that as much as you can. And then what you should also do is, like I said earlier in the stream today, was try and transpose that as fast as you can. One of the licks in the course goes, so that's G minor pentatonic, G major pentatonic. So that's G. Then when I might go to C, then I'll go to F. Let's see here. Then I'll go to B flat. I like to do it in fourths. Here we go. E flat. And that puts me all over the guitar, transposes it, and it starts to really become melodic to me, because I've also tried to make the solo sound like you could sing it. Then I revisit it. Then I do it again. Here. Then I might go stuff like that. That's all in there. I tried to make it like a song. That was the idea. More great questions coming in. You guys are awesome. Thanks for being here. Allie, you're welcome. Thanks for being here and asking a question. Jim C. has a question. Is there a test or evaluation that can give us an honest and accurate appraisal of our status as a guitar player, beginner, intermediate, and points in beyond, between and beyond? You know, there should be like a Rorschach test or something, you know, about like, where am I on the status? The thing is like, you're as good as as you can be at the moment you're in it. Like, there's people that you think are great guitar players that other people don't, and vice versa, you know, and their level is not, you know, it's not bearing on any one standard, which is interesting. I think the more you understand about music, how to play your guitar to the fullest ability to get the sounds out of your head that you hear, if all you ever want to do is play a great solo in one minor pentatonic scale, then, and you can do that all day long, then you're advanced at that, you know, and it's as much as you want to, it's as far as you want to go. And I would think that a sprinkling of technique, theory, and I guess I would say like maybe style or personality that you've developed. Technique is a huge one, making sure your instrument sounds good and speaks well, and you get the most tone out of it. Because if you do that, that will sound advanced. Like I could just turn this pedal off, we'll play clean. I get a nice sound. And to me, that's kind of an advanced touch. You know, that feels like I'm getting the instrument to speak. If you could do that, but all you could do is, it's as fast as you could play, it's as many notes as you knew, and it sounded that good, then you're kind of advanced, you know? It's a massive sliding scale. It's a really tough question, but a great one. What do you suggest for right-hand picking in terms of speed? Start very slowly with an exercise that's physical, whether it be a scale, and then incrementally do that against a metronome or a drum machine, and incrementally raise it 5 beats per minute per week. You know, I did that once, and I did it for a long time, and it did help. I think I read it was like a Steve Morse lesson back in the back of some guitar magazine when I was like super young. Yeah, and I remember doing that like very diligently. A lot of my sort of private one-on-one students that contact me through Zoom, we talk about sort of how are we going to practice over the next 2 weeks before they come back and see me. And I say a lot of times you got to have a part of your practice that is physical and regimented. There should be a part of your practice that's fun. There should be part of your practice where you're actually kind of performing, like you're playing with someone, and if you can't, play along to a recording. And if you're playing along to that recording and you sound good for 2 bars, great, keep going. Because the next time you play, you're going to sound better for 4 bars. And then that's going to continue to grow. And if you finish in a year, a half a dozen songs, that is huge. Very, very important. And I'm reading this book right now that's called The Talent Code. And it's all about this myelin that gets built up in your brain from repetition and repetitive practice, and practicing as a result of your failures. Okay, so the only thing that's going to hold you accountable is the metronome, the track, or the recording, because that never changes. So if you keep trying to stand up against that, eventually you're going to start to bang the dents out of your playing. It's what happened for me, and it's the only way I really kind of know how to learn or practice. When I practice songs for a gig, I put it on, I stand up, I got my pedals, I play like I'm jamming with the band live, because I want that to be natural. I know when I get to the rehearsal space or the stage, something's going to be different. There's going to be a sound man that's, you know, woken up on the wrong side of the bed and is upset with us for being too loud or something, or anything like that is going to happen, or something doesn't work. From my house to the gig, a pedal breaks, and who knows, anything like that can happen. So if you know the material and you feel comfortable because you've been performing it, then anything else that comes your way is a little easier to handle. That's an offshoot. But I try to practice as if I'm in a real world scenario and make constant little adjustments all the time, because the adjustments are what will get you the results. Man, you know, I'll go on a tangent. I come back to the chat and you guys are just totally rocking. All right, so Ken Keyes, great book, The Girl Who Learned Clarinet. Yep, practicing each phrase before moving on. So Ken Keyes knows the book, and it's exactly right. My friend Carell, who joins us a lot, the voice instructor du jour, he turned me on to that book for sure. Questions. Wise Aviv, don't know how to say your name, sorry. Do you think knowing all notes on the fretboard is essential? Sometimes I find it frustrating and confusing. Fantastic question. I think you should also learn the notes on your fretboard in a way that is comfortable to memorize. That doesn't mean you have to do it all at one time. I always start teaching people the 6th and 5th strings because that's like so much builds off of that. Whether we want to start a scale or we want to start a chord or anything, you should know the 6th and 5th strings because once you know the 6th, you can start to do little tricks like find the octaves. And then notes start to be revealed to you a little bit easier. But the 6th and 5th notes, 6th and 5th strings are the best to start with. Also, to make it easy on yourself, start with natural notes, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Sharps and flats are just a half step away from either of them. So why kill yourself going F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B flat, B, C, C. Why not just go F, G, A, B, C, D, and E? And then if somebody says I need a B flat's that way. You know, A sharp is this way. You know, make it easy on yourself. All right. I will answer that one from Al. Al, the lesson for today is not in the Dropbox. I'm showing you stuff from my course with Brett Papa that I just released. So I didn't want to give too much away because some folks have kindly paid for it and I don't want to cheat them. So we were just talking about it a little bit today, showing the video and played a couple riffs from it. Thanks, Al. Appreciate your question, though. Good to see my knees hurt back. All right. We've got Robert from France. How do I practice the swing feel? Excellent question. Excellent question. You guys are asking incredible questions. Oh my gosh. Man, I'm going to go back to yours though. And we had a bunch of people just jump on. About 15 or 20 people just jumped in. Thanks so much. Practicing the swing feel. Okay, let's go back to that for Robert. And we saw Dilip has a slow blues advice. If I missed your question, feel free to ask it again. But let's talk about how I practice the swing feel. This is my favorite thing to do. Here we go. Here we go. Where's my metronome? All right, so here we go. There's my metronome back by my microphone. So what I do is I'm going to turn that down even slower to 50. Super slow. Now if I had to do that, 1, 2, let's say I'm playing a major scale. This would be 1, 2. It's kind of like chasing it, right? You don't want to do that. But what you can do to improve your swing feel is make that beat 2 and 4. This is very tricky. So you have to say 2, 4, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. A 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we go. Maybe a blues. It's playing quietly so I can hear the metronome. Now, hopefully you could hear that through the metronome. It's but it's what's cool is it forces you to really, really listen. And when you really are listening, you can kind of relax. Oh, 1, 2, 3. I love it. Feels so good when you get it. Yeah. Hope that helps. Hope that helps. We had another influx of folks joining the chat, joining the live stream. Thank you for being here, everybody. We've talked so much for the past hour already. How fast does this hour go? Jason Carter, back me up on that, right? This is fun because, like, I've gotten to know you guys. I know who says what they say every week, like how much they love it, how much the time goes by. Super, super awesome. Yeah, but great to have so many new people, some regulars, and man, this is just awesome. I want to get through as many questions as I can. We're going to wrap it up. Oh, my buddy Phil Roselle in the house. So good to see him. Phil and I write songs together. Great guitar player. Also, a New York, New Jersey boy. Wonderful, wonderful cat. Great to have him here. All right, so hopefully that made sense. That was 50 beats per minute. Let's see if that makes sense. I'm going to go to my camera. That's my app. 50 beats per minute. Using the click as 2 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Great. There you go. Okay, back to the chat. There you go, Jason. I got you. My knees hurt. I want to write songs, he says, and you should. And there's no wrong way to do it. Start any way you want. With the chords, with the lyrics. Come up with something to say. What chromatic scale are you thinking there? That's a good question, Stephen asks, and I'm kind of, it goes back to a lot of this stuff in the course. In the course, there's a lick that I play, again, this not advertising the course on purpose here all the time, but I made sure somebody's gonna ask that. So when I'm playing something in A, there's a lick in there, and it's a total chromatic thing. So it's a combination of always mixing major and minor pentatonic scales, as well as the blues scale. Curtis McDonald, my buddy, was here. He's a PRS lover and great guitar player too. He talked about how that flat 5 from what's commonly called the blues scale is another passkey. So the combination of minor pentatonic, if you want to call it the blues scale, great. I think of it as the minor pentatonic with a flat 5 note added, and then the major pentatonic. They all do this overlapping. The best way to kind of achieve that is to try to maybe learn some licks or ideas that do those already. At least that's what I think. Okay, you guys are killing me here with such great stuff. Madge, I hope I see you next week too. Thanks so much for being here. Thomas Moore, have you tried your Pod Go in front of an amp? And how would it work as a self-contained pedal board? I have not yet because it's just kind of wired up here on my desk. But I would probably use just the overdrives and the effects in it. I probably would not use the amp. What's for lunch? Lunch is some leftover pad thai, which I am just dying to jump into. Always great to have Cashew here. Thanks for being here, Cashew. QStick333 asks, do you actively think about picking versus hybrid versus tucking the pick when you improvise or just let it happen? I practice all three but get occasional paralysis. I mostly am using hybrid all the time. But again, it's like a tool in my hands. If I want a rougher sound, I'll purposefully turn that pedal on. I'll do down picks and downstrokes, and I'll really hit it with a pick so I can dig in. But then my hybrid goes in there. That was half hybrid, half picking. Sometimes I want to snap it, I'll do the hybrid. So it's all tools that I've gotten used to using over the year. Bruce says, what is the best way to do the tucking of the pick naturally. I like to do it, let me get my, so if I'm here, if I'm picking like that, it's kind of hard to show. I kind of just take it and I do that and I tuck it under my finger and then it's back. So if I'm doing it, and I think, like, I remember seeing some people put it in their fingers like that. I would always drop it when I tried to do that. So the first finger sort of tuck always seemed to help me do it. There we go. I'm getting the hang of these Sony autofocus cameras here for sure. You got to do the face correction. Put it by your face. Let's see here. Okay, so more folks coming in. Weps20 says, just got the course and it's linked into Kajabi as Mike said it would. Yes, Kajabi is who hosts it, and it's hosted through brettpapa.com and through Kajabi. And Kajabi is just, it's an online resource that allows folks like us to upload content and create a course. It takes care of all the heavy lifting. How do I personally learn a song? That is a good question. I try to understand the key that it's in first. I try to get the chord progressions first. And then I try to get then I start to hone in on some of the more literal guitar parts. That's easiest in the music I play a lot in Nashville with when I do the sideman roll, which doesn't really happen much anymore. I would chart it out, making a rough sketch of the song, verses, choruses, and then I start to learn all the signature parts of it as well. That's one way. Let's see here. More questions. Thanks, Bruce. Appreciate you saying that. Steven, I'm glad you enjoyed that tip. Talked about what's for lunch. How many scales are there roughly that would be used in blues and country? Shannon Arnold asked that. That's a good question, Shannon. Major scales, major, minor, pentatonic. Well, blues, let's say blues. Minor pentatonic, major pentatonic. Depends on what kind of blues. If it's a minor thing, sometimes you can get away with a natural minor scale, which is the same as a major scale, started on a different note. Folks are going to chime in and say, you forgot Mixolydian. I am not much of a Mixolydian player. It just doesn't work for me as much as combining the two scales do. You kind of achieve all the same real estate anyway. But once you get into blues, there's all kinds of other outside things you can do, whether it's melodic minor scales or it's diminished scale, stuff like that. But pentatonic and major will get you most of the way home for sure. Any tips on improvising but not sounding like scales? That's Noob Tuber Guitarist asked that. That is like my whole mantra. My whole life is like that. And the thing that motivates scales the most is rhythm, and it's phrasing. So in that clip I played, let's see if I can do it again. I'm gonna do this for you. Full perform. Let's take the first solo here of my course. We'll use this as an example because I want you guys to kind of see and hear. Super important. So there we go. This is just the first verse. All right, so you take that idea, and what I get from that the most is, now let's take that and not play the same notes. So here's the notes. What if we just take and let's say we took it over the same groove. So it's play your scale notes. We're gonna play G minor pentatonic. Ba-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da. So that's a little busy. So why did I write it that way? Well, I wrote it that way because it fits for the course and fits for the combining of the major and minor pentatonics. But let's take half of that. Ba-da, ba-da-da-da, ba-da. Maybe something like that. Yeah, let's do that. 2, 3, 4. Da-da-da-da, 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 da-da-da-da. Okay, so that still might not bring the point home. Okay, so let's take it even, pull it back even more. And we're gonna go ba-da-da-da, beep-ba-da, beep-da-da, beep-ba-ba. And the reason I'm doing that, rhythm doesn't have a pitch associated to it. So let's put any pitch on it we want. 3, 4. We're gonna go ba-da-da-ba. Ba-da-da-da. Let's make it simple. Now back. So that's really the phrasing conversation at that point. It's how do we take pitches and how do we assign different rhythms to them? And the idea is you might want to start listening to really diving into what some of your favorite players are doing outside of fast chops or fast playing. I have an Albert King video on my channel, on my YouTube channel here. And that is an entire phrasing lesson in and of itself. Because Albert King, over that kind of groove, he would play something like this. So very simple. I teach some of that stuff in that video for sure. Beavy, maybe if you can find it on my channel, there's a Albert King lesson called The King of Three Strings. That might be helpful. If not, no big deal, brother. More questions. You guys are awesome. I don't know if I should start the stream later or if I should just go for 2 hours, because the past couple of weeks we've gotten an influx of folks coming in from about 12 or 1:45 my time. Great stuff. I feel like you guys are trusting me more. That's the thing. You would say, hey, Corey's coming here every week. We're going to ask him the right questions. Oh, Jeffrey Reed, thank you so much for picking up the course. Really appreciate it. That is awesome. Please feel free to let me know how you're enjoying it. Feel free to comment in the course thread as well. Let's see. What else did I want to tell you guys? I want to get to a couple questions here, and then we'll talk about this pedal. Ron Peterson, my friend, says, go for 2 hours. Am I familiar with Marcus King's style? If so, do you have any tips on what scales to combine for that funky blues jazz sound? I think if you do major, minor pentatonics and dominant 7 arpeggios, that's going to really get you really super far. Again, another video on my channel, how to use dominant 7 arpeggios in blues. Those three things are going to be, if I was playing, that's all I would use, for sure. Kind of not a whole lot of reason to use much more. Christian from Denmark, thank you so much. Appreciate the support. Raphael's got a good question. Let me go up and hit some other folks first, Raphael, before I get to you. Okay, here we go. What are my thoughts about PRS strings? Good question. That's Kalani is answering that, or asking that. I've used them. They're on one of my guitars. They're fine. They're okay. I have a sponsorship with D'Addario, so I've been using their strings since I was 13. So I work with them a lot, and I use their strings. Thomas Moore, you're very welcome. Thank you for being here. Bryant Wiley, Sissy Strut Lick, go on that. Yeah, for sure. Love the Meters, was just listening to them yesterday. Who would downvote one of the nicest people in the world, says Ken Keys. Thanks. Maybe somebody slipped and just hit the thumbs up, or hit the thumbs down. It's all good. Hit me with a thumbs up if you feel good about it. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't. That would be the best. We got more stuff coming. Don't forget, guys, I'm still giving away the green CE24 semi-hollow, courtesy of American Musical Supply and PRS, sitting right here in all its glory. Fun guitar, been using it a bit. Did a Santana lesson with it, did a Pod Go sound, all kinds of stuff. Let's see, more questions. Mike says that he struggles with subdivisions. I was watching another YouTube channel and they said that in blues, 99% of melody is eighth, quarter, swing eighths, and triplets. Is that correct? It's probably pretty accurate. Yeah, I would say that. So what might be a good thing to practice is take that metronome. We'll spice it up a little bit here. This is a good thing so thanks for asking, Mike. When you practice, let's say a scale, let's take it down to 70 just to make it real tolerable. So that's 70 beats per minute, 2, 3. So this is quarter notes that we're going to do. So we're going to go pentatonic scale, A minor. Everybody knows this. Here we go. That's quarter notes. Eighth notes, twice that. Sixteenths. Triplets. And just think, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. Let me get the metronome back, can't hear it. Take my ear out. Now, another thing that you can do is if you set up your quarter note for 70, but you're having trouble playing quarter notes because there's too much space involved there, which is nothing to be ashamed of. Playing along with the metronome is challenging, but here's the way you can do it. If you need to be at 70, that's okay. Just double it and go to 140. Because it's the same thing with more clicks. Now it's playing the eighth notes for you at 140. So if it's at 140, hearing more clicks helps us stay on beat more because there's more subdivisions that you're hearing. So now I can play quarter notes against it. Eighth notes. Now I'm right with it. 16th. So on and so forth, right? So that's what you want to do. You can double the metronome and then you'll get more subdivisions and it'll be easier to play along to. And then you can do it just like I said, start with quarters, start with eighths, start with sixteenths, start with swung eighths. That would be, you know, if you want to do the swing thing, go back to what I said about putting the metronome on a very slow tempo and use that as beats 2 and 4. We talked about that earlier. Whole other ball of wax right there. Oh, don't want to lose these questions. There were so many good ones. Let's see here. Oh, I think I found it. And Daniel Chavez says he discovered me through TrueFire, and I'm such an easy instructor to follow, and he's enjoyed the content immensely. That is so nice to hear. Thank you, Daniel. Appreciate you being here. Thanks for following me here. Thanks for hanging out with us every Thursday. It's awesome, and I encourage you to kind of stay in touch and see what else I got cooking in the months and years to come. Mike says that he just wants to say that he really really enjoys the Brett Papa courses. He gets a lot from them. The longer videos compared to TrueFire. Yeah, TrueFire is different. It's great, just different. Absolutely. The TrueFire content that I've created is a little more grab and go, you know. But inevitably, somebody always says, "Well, how did you do that? What was your thought process?" And that's what I get to do with the courses with Brett, which is really great. All right, some more stuff. We talked about that. And Raphael says he would like to know which kind of mixing major and minor are the best. Different bars, same bar, just borrow one note, come and go back. It's kind of all of that. I'm sorry to say that there's not like a for sure answer on any of that. The song is going to dictate a lot of it. Listen to the tune and listen to. That's why in this course, I wanted to do this funky G7 thing to show you guys that you can kind of make any of it work at any point. But again, back to like that Stevie Ray Vaughan Lenny thing that my student was doing. He was doing it so well, there was this section where Stevie goes, that kind of stuff. That's all major and minor. As soon as he goes, that's major. But then what does he do? He goes right back to minor. You heard Stevie Ray do that on ballads all the time. He was the best at that, like so good. Like Hendrix on another level. So if I go like 3, 4. So there's that chord. Mostly major, but then Stevie. So, I'm not going to show you that right now because I couldn't remember all of it anyway. But that's what I would get when I would transcribe SRV, was that kind of stuff. And that's how it worked into my playing. So, didn't really answer very well there. I'm sorry. But it is sort of dealer's choice. That's kind of the beauty of it. And you're going to do it in times when you play minor and it's not going to sound good. And you're going to do it in times when it's major and it's not going to sound good, and vice versa. Loving the course so far, John G. Over 30 years of playing, I still learn new things all the time. Thanks, John G. Appreciate that. And a lot of the stuff I do is, I wanted to show you how I put my hybrid stuff. That's in there as well. All that kind of stuff. Little nuggets, for sure. All right, more questions, more questions. All right. That's a good point, Cashew. Thanks for saying that. All right. Sam Stamos is back with us. All right. The PRS. That's right, the PRS. Imagine World Peas over there. Let's see. What else we got? What else he got? Thanks, Ronnie, for being here. Thanks to those of you for entering the contest. Again, honest to goodness contest, there it is right there. We're sending that guitar to somebody in a few weeks. Just watched the latest video with Brett. Thanks so much, Steven. Appreciate that. And you're right, Steven, the BB box is a great one for mixing major and minors. From Allman Brothers to Gilmore and back, Sam is correct. Raphael, you're very welcome. Thanks so much for being here. Yeah, agreed. Lenny is an incredible song. Let's see here. Does a higher string gauge put more tension on the bridge? You just change from 9s to 10s on the Strat. Yeah. So, Jason, that will 100% happen because the strings are pulling up, adding more tension. So you do have to compensate with the claw in the back. And there's a number of different ways to do that. Feel free to check out some YouTube videos and so forth about how to set up a floating bridge properly. Michael Perry from Colorado, thank you so much for being here. We've done 1 hour and 20, y'all. Thank you so much for being here. 122 strong. We didn't even get an email out. We were slacking. That's all right. My fault. I didn't get the email in fast enough. You know, Jason, you're welcome. I had a BC Rich with a Floyd Rose tremolo many years ago, and when I did the same thing, and it freaked out. And Floyds are a whole other ball of wax, but they're fun. Don't forget, enter the win giveaway. BB Ninja has tossed the link in the chat. There's a link for special pricing on my course that we've been talking about. Man, it's been a great week. Oh, let's talk about, see you, Johnny. Thanks for Johnny Judd being here. Let's talk about Eric's pedal real quickly. I'm gonna go back to my screen so I can see. I can't pull it too far. My buddy Eric Andreas has this cool pedal. It's like a little over 200 bucks, but it's 2 great circuits in one. It's called the Dueling Ninja. So here's the clean sound. And what it has over here is a tube screamer side. And then over here is like more of a full tone OCD type sound. And you can choose whichever one you want to play with this toggle switch here. And then it's got a modern and classic for the tube screamer, and then it's got that high and low switch that the OCDs had. So here's the cool thing. I'm going to select that I want the OCD side, and it gave me this sort of nice amp-like breakup. So let's say I'm playing there, and I got that going, and I want to go and get a boost from the other pedal to give me more saturated lead gain. You hold the pedal in, and it just got dirtier. Now you can hold it again, and it goes back to your normal state. Or turn the whole thing off. But the only problem is that when you come back, you gotta make sure you know where you were last set. So that's why I would probably, if I was doing that, I'd step on it one more time. Because this is like a great rhythm sound. So I could do like, let me get my looper. It's hard to loop with pedals on the, cables on the ground. So like, let's clear that loop out. 2, 3. So there's my OCD sound. So I could be playing regular OCD. Hold it. And then back to the OCD. So, pretty fun. Just on the fly there, trying to make it sound good. Pretty fun. Eric's a great guy. Got stuff coming up with him for the beginners and the intermediate rhythm types. That's gonna be great. All kinds of stuff. I never stop moving. Never. Because, you know, as soon as I do, something passes me by, and don't want that to happen. I like to stay current. I like to stay working all the time. So Jack Smith says, how many times do you stay in the zone where everything is just almost an out-of-body experience? I've only been there a few times, less than 5. For me, it happens more with other people. And that hasn't happened a whole lot. The last time I felt like I was really in the zone was on my birthday at a show in Atlanta before we were quarantined. And That one was with great players, great artist. I was playing guitar for him, and close my eyes, play the solo. We're in this little place in Georgia called Eddie's Attic, an amazing, famous singer-songwriter venue, and people were just digging it. You know, when I felt inspired and I felt like my playing was really good, and I said a bunch, that's the best gig I've played in a long time. There's been a couple moments. One moment was at the Ryman when I was playing with Lucy Silvas there once, and you don't really see everybody, and then they flash the lights and you see, and they're just like amped for what you're doing, and it was cool. Yeah, so those, you know, but the zone usually happens for me with other people. Yeah. Are the wall hangers you use for the guitars available on Amazon? No, Bryant, that's a great question. Called Diamond Life. I think it's called diamondlife.com. Check those out. They're a cool company. Yeah, the Blue SG's back. Still not exactly ready to play for you guys yet. I'm going to make a video on the pickup swap. I think that's about it. I think I got you guys all caught up for the most part. Yeah. Good night, Raphael. Yep, the pedal is pretty sweet. It is a fun pedal. And yeah, BB Ninja killing it. Thanks so much for 100 likes. Was just rocking out to some Angus, Dexter says. Also some good major minor there. Angus is a killer major minor player. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, I think I got everybody covered. I'm going to jump off. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks so much for buying the course. There's going to be more coming with not only Brett, but Your Guitar Sage. This is the year for Corey to kind of branch out and reach as many of y'all as I can, and it's been great to do so. Everybody's been so wonderful and so supportive, and I'll keep doing this until you guys stop coming. All right, I'll see you guys next time. Don't know what we'll talk about next week, but it'll be something. All right, see you.